Nowadays, it's possible to be in a subway car full of people, so close that you're smelling someone's armpit, yet still feel lonely. And that is because the bigger a community becomes, the more the personal touch is lost. Hence, I suspect why we have started to see hyper-segmentation in the world market. We started seeing the graffiti artists, seeing the skateboarders, because I think it goes to them wanting to recreate what was lost 10,000 years ago with the advent of civilization. I live here in London, and in London there's been an ongoing loneliness crisis, to the point where a government minister has been appointed to attack the root cause of loneliness. The problem is the root cause of loneliness is technology itself. Technology simplifies stuff. Technology eliminates the need to interact with other people. Hence, at the end of the day, people stop interacting. Go to your Facebook and actually see the people that you interact with on a regular basis, not your 3,000 friends. Who do you actually interact with on a regular basis? You will see that it's between 100 to 150 people. This number in evolutionary psychology is called Dunbar's number. And Dunbar's number applies even to this day. And that is because 100,000 years ago, we lived in communities that were no bigger than 100 to 150 people. In Cavemen of Smartphones, my book, I mentioned the ongoing passage of time and how civilization changed fundamentally how we operated as a species. And some of the things that warped our sense of community, for example, was the invention of money. Money came into existence because once a community evolved past Dunbar's number, we have to create order through laws and money and similar impersonal mechanisms. And as a consequence, the individual is irrelevant, because we no longer actually need each other to survive. But here's the thing, loneliness happens because the individual has been decoupled from the wider meaning. Say, here in London you see a lot of homeless people. A lot of homeless people. And where I'm from, Mexico, a much poorer country, you don't see that many, if any at all. And the reason for that is that it hasn't urbanized enough for it to lose that sense of community, for us to lose that sense of depending on the family first and foremost. But I think humans do not want to lose that personal touch. Why? Because our brains, despite living in a modern environment, we still wish to create the same type of communities that existed. So why am I here today? Well, whether it's the graffiti artist or the skaters, these are communities that share one common goal. And once you join them, you become part of the tribe. So I welcome surrogate communities like graffiti artists, skateboarders, movie reviewers, museum fanatics, any community that brings people out of their dorms and into the real world, interacting with human beings because of a common shared interest. If we stay as things have been, we will become more and more unhappy. And that is because these surrogate communities that we become a part of work instead of that bond that we have lost with our common man. And that is family. And I think it's sad, but it's also not unexpected. Surrogate communities are here to stay, and we should embrace them rather than dismiss them offhand when we say teenagers join the goth group or the emo group or the punk group. We dismiss it out of hand as if they will grow out of it. I think quite the opposite. I think the adults of today should join these smaller communities that actually care for their members, because you're alone, you're adrift. And what's the fun in that? So next time that you see someone who's a fanatic of Marvel films, maybe don't be so quick to judge. Maybe understand that it's not about the bloody film, it's not about the bloody skateboard, but it's about connecting with somebody and finding a tribe that they belong finding somewhere where they will be accepted. And that, I think, is one of the most human desires that there is. See you next week.